This is Baron Angus McBarrow, Crystal Pine, Bear Hill Shire, Longsword Training Video 1. I have with me today as my assistant, Sir Aidan McBarrow, Jacob Lapine, Sergeant of the Bear Army.
NCO.
Today we're going to go over basic stances and basic attacks with the longsword. I cannot stress this enough. Make sure you have the appropriate safety gear if you're going to be hitting other people with it. I'm not going to be hitting him. We're just going to do some sword crosses. First things first is the stance. So when you're fighting someone with a longsword, usually you want to have your strong leg forward. So I'm right-handed, my right leg is forward. And the way that you can look at it is to say, if I stand sideways or perpendicular to my opponent, I want to make sure that I'm putting as much target area that way as opposed to this way. Because if I stand this way, I'm completely open. I have very little balance forward and back. This gives me a much better way to stand. Boxers call it a weaver stance. Karate calls it a horse stance. I'm going to take my front foot and I'm going to draw a line from the middle of my back foot through my front toe to my opponent. I'm going to turn my front foot a little bit forward, and I'm going to have my two-handed stance like this. So when I'm forward, here I am. Now this is technically not a longsword, it's a hand and a half. This is a longsword. Two hands fit on there quite easily, and it's also got a quite longer blade. Pommel, handguard, crossguard, blade, tip. This is my first stance. So I'm here, and when I'm moving, I'm keeping this sideways stance, backward and forward. I'm moving left, I'm moving right, and I always want to keep the tip pointed right at the face of my opponent, right about there, so that when I can block hits, overheads, and if I attack, cuts, overcuts, undercuts, pommel strikes, everything's right here. If I'm like this, and I'm swinging around, I am not getting any force on the blade. I'm not able to react to what they're doing. So the first thing I want to look at, side to side, is when I'm here, my opponent, I want to keep a distance about that far, away from my opponent. So my blade is about here. And that way, if he steps in, I can step back. If I'm right here and he extends his arms out, he can hit me. So I don't want to have an extended hit. I want to actually have to have him step in and hit and cross swords. When I'm moving, I want to try to keep that distance at all times. So if he moves in and I'm moving, I'm stepping back. If I move in, he steps back. Stance, distance, moving. Three big things that a lot of people forget. The tendency is to stand there toe-to-toe with somebody, not on the move, and just swing, 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 swing. Yeah, you're not cutting down a tree. It's another human being with a piece of steel that wants to hurt you with it. Next part about fighting with a longsword, we're going to get to in other videos in more depth, but the basic blocks. So the basic block number one is an overhead block. I'm going to come up.
So it's not blocking up.
So he's going to come down, I'm going to block up. He's going to come from that side, I'm going to block here. He's going to come from that side, I'm going to block here. Coming from the front, I'm going to be overhead, push the blade, push the blade. I don't want to be doing a lot of this to block stuff, because that's really taking away from how much steel that I'm using to put in front of me. This is your only thing that you can block their blade with. Now, if you're using armored gauntlets, armored chest, arms, legs, you can grab, if your tournament rules allow that, you can snatch, you can pommel, you can use every part of your body that you want to use to attack the person with, and I will be teaching that. Right now, I'm just teaching blade blocking, that's it. That's what this video is about, just the basics, 101. Up. Okay, you always want to go weak arm back. If I'm over here, I'm really exposed over here. So I want to keep it like this, and that way I can come right back keep the blade away from your face, away from your body, with as minimal motion or efficiency of motion as you can get. Here, here. Those are the basic blocks. If somebody's coming in low, okay, I can still use my cross guard, this part right here, to catch the blade. Stop it at a 90. So I'm dropping my blade onto his and sliding my blade, my cross guard into his blade. So if he's coming in low, he's hitting my cross guard. Now at this point, if he's down there, he's at a lot of disadvantage for what he can do. For instance, I can come right up, or I can come in,
Or you can shove.
or I can shove. So for the low blocks, hit, use the cross guard. Hit, use the cross guard. Now, if you're using Oriental type weapons that are two-handed, like a Japanese katana, there really isn't a lot of cross guard there to use. So you have to be really careful about how that works. It's more or less to stop them from sliding down your blade and cutting your fingers off. This is meant for this kind of combat where you're using it as an angle deflector. Up, left, right, down, down. Those are the 4 basic blocks. Basic attacks. The overhead. Straight down chop. Everybody's seen Bugs Bunny? That's on chop. Okay? Slide attacks. Here, 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 here. Dagger thrusts. Stabbing, stabbing, stabbing. Again, a lot of the thrusting is going to depend on what your societies, what your groups, what your tournament rules are. We have above the knee hits and no stabbing with sharp tips. You have to have some kind of stopper on the end to stab with this group. Makes common sense. Nobody wants to get really hurt really bad here. Some pain, sure. Lose an eye, no. Pommel hits are okay for us. So if I'm hitting with the pommel, it's going to be a combination. I'm not going to just walk up to the guy and do this with it. That's kind of obvious what I'm doing. So it's going to be a leading thing. So I'm here, 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 cross, flick, down. Again, I'll get into more advanced techniques and basic things later. So just going over the basic attacks. Do the basic block, please. I'm coming down over the top. I'm coming from the side. I'm coming from the other side. Okay? I'm stabbing. There's really no deflection for that unless he pushes my blade out of the way. That's a hard one to block right there, because you have to get the sword down to block it or come down like this. But even then, you're still pushing the blade into you in some other way. So here, here, okay? If I'm doing a charging attack, one of the things that I really want to work on is my footing and distance. So getting his blade out of the way, and then I'm coming in. Getting his blade out of the way, and then I'm coming in. And you can use the back side of the sword to hit, because there's 2 edges there. It's a double-edged sword. So if I'm hitting, I don't have to just hit strong hand over like this. I can cut it over this way, or cut it over that way. That's the basics of what I'm going to cover today for longsword. Check us out on Facebook and YouTube. Thanks for watching.